Buying the house in Italy was the easy part. But then the bills started to arrive, and one of them caught me completely by surprise. I'd only had the keys to my house for a few minutes when the real estate agent said something that stopped me. I need to go and pay my property taxes. I had absolutely no idea what that was, or if it was going to be expensive. So I headed up to the Comuni. That's the local municipal office where you pay taxes, register paperwork, and deal with all local government stuff. I walked in with my Google Translate on and explained I was here to pay my property taxes. She handed me the form. I tried filling it out with the help of Google again, but there were figures and calculations that needed doing and I had no idea how. She directed me to another office, which sounded like a community service to me. I went down the next day and managed to get an appointment in 3 weeks' time. When we finally sat down in the office, she explained what the IMU was. It's paid twice yearly, calculated differently according to your house size, value and region in Italy. And it's only paid if it's your second home. If the house is your primary residence, you do not pay IMU at all. I'd spent 3 weeks wondering whether this was going to be a huge surprise. When she finally told me the amount, I actually felt relieved. For me, it'll be €242 twice a year. Before I arrived in Italy, I had heard electricity was expensive. So I was a little bit nervous about how much those first bills were going to be. I've always been pretty careful with electricity. I turn lights off, I unplug appliances, and overall I don't use much. I don't even own many electrical things. In fact, I don't even have a television, not in Italy nor here in Australia. Getting the electricity connected was actually one of the easiest things. I organised it from Australia with a couple of emails, and when I arrived at the house, I flicked the switch and everything worked. Then the first bill turned up, €46.52. At first I thought, oh, that's more than I expected for just over a week, and I had to question if I could actually afford this. But then I started looking through the bill. Half of it wasn't actually electricity at all. There was a €25 admin fee, so the actual electricity I'd used was surprisingly little. That made me stop and think, why was I using so little electricity? At first I wondered whether the house was just efficient, but then I realised I'm hardly ever inside. I'm in the garden, I'm walking into the village, I'm meeting neighbours, I'm sitting, eating, entertaining outside. I'm living completely differently. The second bill arrived, and it was almost exactly the same. What surprised me wasn't how much electricity cost, it was how little I actually needed. Without really trying, my whole lifestyle had changed. Water. Now, if you've been following the channel, you'd know that this one didn't exactly go to plan. It took me 32 days to get connected to town water, plenty of paperwork, 2 trips to the office, and then eventually it all came together. When we signed everything, they told me there'd be a connection fee of about €60, plus my ongoing water bill. Now here's the funny part. I've been here more than 3 months, and I'm still waiting for my water bill. Now rubbish disposal. One of the biggest surprises actually wasn't the rubbish collection. It was what happened when I needed to get rid of large furnitures. like couches and cupboards, and even fridges and washing machines and things like that. There were quite a few items that I didn't want in the house anymore. An old cupboard taking up way too much room, and an old couch that was so disgusting that the pillows were crunchy on the inside. I don't know how old it was, but every time I touched it, my hands turned black. My neighbour popped over just as I was dragging the cupboard out, shaking her head saying, "Next time ask, we are here to help you." So when I was faced with the removal of the big couch, I did think for a minute, should I ask for some help? But then I thought, no, with a bit of initiative, I reckon I can do this. It was a lot more difficult than the cupboard, but in the end, I managed it too. There was a service you can call that will come and collect large items. They'll pick up 3 items at a time. You just have to put them out the front of your house. So Rosanna, my neighbour, called the service for me, and within a week they came. I honestly couldn't believe it. They came, loaded everything onto the truck, waved goodbye, drove off, and I didn't pay a cent. Suddenly, restoring the old house seemed a lot more manageable. I don't know if this will be my forever, but for now I get to experience it. And somehow, even something as ordinary as paying a bill has become part of the adventure.